Red Bull gives you rings. All right, here we are, 2024 season 4, first race in Porsche Cup is going to take us to the Red Bull Ring. Is able to get a 132 286 in the dry here. The fixed is going to be in the dry. The open races are, I'm pretty sure it says 94% chance of rain on the preliminary schedule there, so I'm guessing, well, 94 out of 100 races will be in the wet. So I still need to practice that up. I think going for the season, most weeks are going to have a dry race on either one, except for it looks like week 6 at Portimao. Both are going to be in the wet according to the preliminary schedule here, so that one we'll try and do a wet guide, but the other ones I'm going to do dry. I feel more confident in that. I'm not super confident with this, well, really any. I don't think I'm very quick in the wet. But yeah, maybe week 6 we're gonna have to get into that. But well, without further ado, like I said, we got ourselves a 132 286. I think the fast guys are gonna be doing 30s 31s, somewhere around there. Let's show you the fast lap. We'll go through how we did it and come back here for some final thoughts.
That lap was a 132.58. Sector 3 is a 10th off your best. Sector 1 time was good. Sector 2 time is okay. That was a 132.29. Sector 3 times okay.
All right, Porsche Cup fixed at Red Bull Ring. Got us a 132 286. It took some doing. Let's go through how we did it. Haven't touched brake bias or anything like that. Fixed it up. Let's go flat out through this start finish here. First braking point is going to be a little bit before the 100. So we're just going to get over as far as we can. Want to make sure we keep our right tires on this side. Had a few runs where I got off track here, just coming over too much, but yeah, just a little bit before the 100 we're going to start getting on the brakes. Pretty heavy on the brakes, just don't want to lock up. That's a big thing. Then we're going to start turning in a little bit before the 50 there, start downshifting, and I aim for second. I think third might be a little bit quicker, but I can't reliably make the corner in third, so it's just for me it's a little bit safer in second. But we're just easing off the brakes as we come around, trail braking. So just as we come through, start dropping your brake pressure, and then right before we get to the corner here, we're going to start putting on the throttle. And we're going to wait until we settle the car down before we put the rest of the throttle in. And we bring our left tires up onto the yellow here a little bit. That's about as far over as you can go. And it's full throttle through this section here. We're going to aim to brake a little bit before the 100 marker again. It's between the 150 and the 100. About halfway there. pretty heavy on the brakes, and one thing I have to tell myself is to hold that brake pressure a little bit longer than my instincts tell me. I'm gonna start coming off it a little bit. We're gonna get down. We're aiming to end up getting down to first eventually here. We're downshifting. We're gonna ease up off the brake pressure. Hold a little bit of brake pressure in just for that trail braking. Try and make that line smooth after we've had that plateau. Turning in, holding a little bit of brake pressure. This is a pretty squirrely corner here. We're gonna start putting that throttle in. Open up the wheel. And we can put the rest of the throttle in. It comes up, all that sequence comes up pretty quick when you're doing it at full speed. And we're gonna go full throttle through here. And it's just past the 150 that we start braking for this corner. So there we go on the brakes, braking a straight line. And we start easing off the pressure right about here. Start turning it a little bit, getting down to second. The camber on this is a little weird, so you got to be careful. It's pretty easy to if you carry too much speed, miss the apex here and try and pull the car into it anyway, and that's going to spin you out if you ask for too much rotation there. But we got the car slowed down enough so we make it to the apex here. Hold that little bit of brake pressure. So we bring the car around and then start putting a little bit of throttle in. We got a lot of wheel, so we can't just slam on it. We gotta wait until we open up the wheel again, and then we can put the rest of the throttle in. And we're just full throttle up until we get to the 50, or a little bit between the 50 and the 100. So we're gonna come over onto the curb about halfway in between these two and start hitting the brakes there. We come up, get the right tires on the curb, just a little bit of brakes. Probably could have tapped it a little bit lighter. And just hold that little bit of brake pressure coming in. I'm gonna get down to third. Hold that little bit of brake pressure. And my problem with this corner is I try and get on the throttle too early. I don't think I did that on this lap. But there's quite a few where I would get on it. This might even be a little early, and then I'd have to lift, which unsettles the car when you apply the throttle and then lift off. We don't want to do that. We want to be steady on the throttle. Then as we come around, straighten out the wheel, we can put the rest of the throttle in. And we're gonna go full throttle up until we get to the end of this curbing on the right hand side here. That's going to be our braking point right up here where the curbing ends. We're just going to go straight, and we hit the brakes, we turn the car in, downshift, and here I think I'm usually a little late getting on the throttle, but that's safer than getting on it too early, which you can do here pretty easy. And it'll just shoot you off if you get on it too soon. But we're just putting a little bit of throttle in, or it's about 70%, and it's more than a little bit, I suppose. We're just gonna hold that until we can straighten the car out. Now we can go full throttle, and that's gonna take us to the right hand side. We're gonna get on the curb a little bit here. And again, you don't want to use too much of it, but I think that's about as much as you can use right there. And then we're just gonna we'll end up on this curb. And our next braking point is gonna be the 100 marker up here. So we're gonna slightly tap on the brakes here. We want to be light on them, we don't need a ton. Mostly to get the weight on the front of the car, since we're going downhill. We need as much help getting that gripped up as much as we can. Again, I may have been a little heavy on them, but down to fourth. I'm gonna keep fourth here. I early on I was doing third, and that helps slow the car down a little bit more and maybe come off of it a little bit quicker. But this is, we're just carrying our speed through here just a little bit quicker. We're just gonna accelerate once we get over on this curb. I lifted because I got scared, and we're just gonna get back full throttle here, and then we're gonna hit the brakes. I feels like it's earlier than I think we ought to be hitting the brakes. We're starting to get on them now, but we want to be able to accelerate before we're on the opposite side of this corner. We want to get as much acceleration out of this final bit as we can, so sacrificing a little bit of speed through here is okay in my eyes. We're just hit the brakes, hold them as we come through, and we want to hold and get the throttle going. Come around, and this is a tough one that needs a lot of practice, getting that to not take you way out wide. Applying the throttle later is going to make it a little bit easier, holding the brakes longer, but you end up having less of a run down the start finish straight here, which will lose you a couple tenths over the course of this this bit here. But yeah, there we go. Come around, we got ourselves a 132.286. Yeah, pretty happy with that time. If I can get those in the races, I'll be pretty happy. I still got to practice the wet track. Setting up the wet conditions is I'm not super sure how to really do that consistently and get a consistent output yet for how much water's on the track and stuff, so I'm gonna look into that as we go along here. Again, for the guides, I'm gonna do the dry version, because that'll work either for the fixed or the open, whichever one. You can use the fixed setup in the open races. That's what I do. But yeah, thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and yeah, we'll see ya. Bye.